by the county channel. We had no calls for public comments. Committee members present, myself, Mr. Earl Campbell, and Miss Elizabeth Hay. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda, please? Mr. Campbell made the motion to approve the agenda. Ms. Hay, would you like to second?
I second this motion.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We have no public comments. The next item is the approval of the September 21st, 2023 committee meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Mr. Campbell made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the committee meeting minutes. And any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the monthly Board of Education budget. Could you please put that up? And if you look at the bottom line, we have expended 19.8% of the board budget so far this year. This is the end of the quarter. So it's 25% of the year has come back past. So we're approximately 5.2% under budget so far. Any questions on the monthly board budget? Hearing none, we'll move to the next item on the agenda. The August 2023 Transparency Report. 35 pages. And it is from August 1st to August 30th. And Amazon is making some money off of us because we are using Amazon, and that's under state contract. Is that correct? Or state approved vendor?
They are under the single transaction threshold of 10,000, so they fall under that category of procurement.
Okay. And I noticed nothing out of the ordinary here in this report. Ms. Crosby, do you have anything you want to highlight on this?
No, sir. Everything's pretty standard regarding our compared to our normal monthly expenditures.
Right. Right. Contract expenditures for our maintenance services, food services, and the normal bills that we have to pay, utility bills and so on. Is there any questions by the committee members about this report?
None from me. I read through it last night and nothing stood out.
I have the same. Let's go ahead then and go to the monthly $100,000 report. That also seems to be the same. There's nothing unusual in it that I can see. Anybody else have any comments on that one?
I do not.
Do not either. On to the next item. Next item is the ESSER update with dashboard. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me there. We did have the P card transactions and consolidated report for the P card. And for the public that may be watching, and then since this is a matter of interest to the county because of the county's questions about the P card. Ms. Crosby, will you give a brief description of the controls we have for a P card account?
Yes. So first of all, we control the number of cards in our school district. So each school has one card. Each department has one card. So we limit the numbers to a relatively small amount compared to many other entities. Second, we require prior written approval of every transaction that occurs. And we have recently implemented a requisitioning process in our financial software that we have them do a requisition in order to make the purchase, and it goes through that workflow approval process. And that was mostly to capture, to ensure that we're spending special revenue funds properly. So especially ESSER related funding to make sure that it complies with the requirements of the grant or the allocation and before the purchase is actually made. So those are two things. I'm thinking off the fly here. We do audit every single transaction. We have 2 procurement staff that audit every transaction, monitor, and make sure that we have proper documentation for that. And so that is their primary role, to audit all of those transactions. You all think of anything else? Those are some of the major areas that I.
And the P cards are kept under control. They're not put in somebody's wallet or purse.
Yes, we require 2 layers of control, locked. So we want them locked in a drawer or safe behind a locked door when the bookkeeper or card holder is absent. So, and it is not allowed to be kept overnight. And we also have restrictions on certain things that cannot be purchased at all. And we have MCC codes. So there are codes merchant codes that we, through the vendors, the bank software, we block out certain purchases. Gasoline would be an example. Anything going like a liquor store purchase, anything like a cruise or something like that, so if it is, we have a series of a list of things that we disallow, and we have a P card policy that must be anytime a user is given a card, they must read and sign along with the principal, the agreement, the cardholder agreement, in order to prove or agree to the terms of the policy. So, and their responsibilities of having that card in their possession. So,
and you do have daily limits.
Daily limits, and they are, I forget, it's $25,000, I believe, for a daily limit, and then there are monthly limits as well that must be requested to be any exceptions. If there's a very large purchase that needs to go through for a particular purpose, they have to request permission from me to get that lifted for. And it only lifts it till the end of the day, and it automatically reverts back the next day. So whole series of things that are restrictions regarding the card.
And our last year's rebate for the P card, what?
I believe it was $360,000.
Any questions by committee members?
And that goes back into the general fund as well.
Tina has her hand up.
Pardon me?
Tina has her hand up.
Tina.
Hi, and thank you for calling on. Yeah, I was just going to say too, Tanya, thank you for that nice summary. Another thing you could mention for the public is when we had the P card audit a few years ago.
Yes, we have had a couple of P card audits over the years, but recently, I think about 2 years ago, we had 3 audits going on at the same time. And that was an additional audit that was requested, and there were no findings in that audit. none of the audits we had, of the three that were occurring all at the same time, none of the audits had findings.
Any other questions? Okay, let's move on to the ESSER dashboard.
Yeah, I did.
I'm gonna ask,
Now, Mr. Smith has his hand up.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I did have a question and in terms of the P cards, at these facilities, basically, do athletic directors have P cards?
no, sir, they did not. The school bookkeeper has the only P card at the school.
So principals, athletic directors, none of those positions have PFP cards.
No, they do not have P cards. They would have to go to the bookkeeper, provide documentation of a payment request that was made and approved in order to take the card if they were to need a purchase, or the bookkeeper would make that purchase on their behalf.
Thank you.
Let's move to the ESSER dashboard.
I am going to ask Denise Matson, the Director of Special Revenue, to present a report today. And as we were looking through the minutes earlier, I did notice that and recall that Ms. Hay had asked about the completed activities. So Ms. Matson is going to cover that today. I think it's the last page of the document that we've provided. So she's going to cover that as well as her standard ESSER dashboard and summary.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good news to report. We are fully claimed and finished with ESSER 2, and so we met the deadline for that. And we had just 7,000 left to expend on that from the previous month. So that has been fully claimed and it's all closed. ESSER 3 is on track to be spent. This is about a regular monthly expenditure of 1.3 with this, and you can see I just provide you the largest activities of expenditure when we talk about the executive summary. And so at the end of September, we still had 16.8, but you can see on the dashboard at the front that we are projected to be 0. The green line shows that.
That'd be next year this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. We're actually shooting early, like we did with 2, trying to get as much through June, and then we're just having.
Because you have to have all the outstanding debts and stuff.
They've actually given liquidation time. They've extended it after, so it's January. Actually, we had to have it purchased and obligated,
Obligated.
Yes.
By,
and then
Purchased
liquidated by January.
okay. All right, good.
So that's a good area. And so I did add on the very last page of the report, number 38 on our regular reports by activities. And this is just, those are activity reports, but this, I just did a summary of what we said was completed activities. It's number 38 that shows up on the, looks more like a PowerPoint page. And these were things we weren't going to continue, and we were just trying to make that other report a little bit shorter because we reported all on these until they were totally completed.
Okay,
On the report on page, let's say, for instance, on the detailed report on page 5, number 38.
It's a slide.
completed activities,
Slide.
that refers to that last.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the detail for that.
Okay, got it.
And it's both on 2 and 3. It's on both of the grants there, and that's why there's 2 columns in the last report.
Mr. Smith, you have your hand up.
No, I didn't. But since we're talking about ESSER, I did ask for a report Do we know when that report will be in, about the after school programs, since we're talking about that now? And
The after community partnerships that were requested are a part of this packet, and they are, I think it's the last agenda item today.
Yes, we have it. Last agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And Mr. Campbell, do you have any questions? Ms. Hay, any questions?
Sorry, I couldn't unmute fast enough. I do not have any. Thank you, though.
Okay, Dr. Guas, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I do not. Thank you.
We have Chloe Gordon on as well, but she doesn't.
Ms. Gordon, do you have any questions or comment? You're muted.
You're still muted.
Thank you. No, I do not.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Gordon. All right. Legal expenditures is the next item.
As based on a request from Mr. Smith, we're bringing forward a listing of legal fees for a period, 10-year period. And we provided it by year, and those would be available in the packet for you.
Ms. Carter, do you have any comments about these fees?
See an increase in activity and patients, so busy.
Okay. Mr. Campbell, do you have any comments, questions? Ms. Hay, any comments or questions? Okay, Ms. Gordon, do you have any questions or comments? Muted. Dr. Gloss, do you have any questions or comments on this?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
So can you scroll down, Robin, so I can see the very top?
Otherwise, I see legal fees. The
Yeah,
title.
okay. So this is titled Beaufort County School District. So this is all the legal fees, whether they're assigned to the board or the school district?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Can you give a brief, there's obviously, I guess 2014-15 was as, I mean, clearly there's something that was going on then they've dropped dramatically and.
Yes, I think when you see large years of large expenses, there was a major lawsuit going on. Many of them are personnel matters, so I'm not sure I'm privy to actually discuss a name or anything like that or a title. But I think there were years where there was a lot of activity because of personnel matters, specific ones. And then other years those fell off. So.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, I wasn't asking for names or anything, just that kind of general explanation. And you see like 19 to 20, it dropped by about 25%. And of course that was COVID, the onset of COVID. So that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
And this would be anything board related, any personnel related, special ed, student matters, disciplinary, all issues, all fees that were paid to attorneys.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Smith, you asked for this report. Do you have any questions?
Yes. I would kind of like this broken up into board legal and as well as the versus the superintendent legal, because we do have two different legal departments, because the board, when they're represented, Most times the board have its own, they have its own legal charges and its own legal funds for that. So this breakdown is not really the breakdown that I'm looking for is as well. It's a start, but in terms of attorney fees too, as well, is to break down the exact how much money we exactly spending as well on attorney fees, and then I know in some years we did and started to employ attorneys in the district. So I would kind of like to understand the whole logic and how that's working out in terms of where we are, where have we been, and where have we come from, and where we are doing in terms of these fees uh and so forth.
My response to that would be 10 years of data broken down by each category, separated by salaries and benefits of staff and legal fees. That will take some substantial amount of time. We did change about 3 years ago, changed the structure of which general ledger account numbers we use to break down between board and personnel matters. So that would be easy going back a couple of years, but to go back 10 years would create substantial staff time. So I would have to check with Dr. Rodriguez and consult with him on how to proceed with that.
Okay, and then also how long has the board have had an attorney on staff? I mean, excuse me, the district, not board, the district.
Drew came in 2014.
2014 was the first time we had a staff attorney.
And it was in 2014.
Yes, sir.
And so you're saying that and in all these years that include staff, that this also includes the staff salaries as well in here.
These are only fees paid to outside attorneys. This does not include the salaries and benefits or supplies of staff.
Now I would like that the staff in there as well. Yeah, I need the staff. That's to me that's legal fees as well. So I like the staff to be added to that as well. So you may tell me that this is what you're showing me is only outside fees.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely like staff to be added in there too, because we do pay staff and they are legal.
Dr. Claus?
So certainly quite a bit of the information you're requesting, Mr. Smith, is already available to you. And that is every month the board budget has on it what legal fees are. So if you wanted to see what it's spent every year, you can look at the end of the year, which would be the June statement, the end of the school year. So that's all there.
I'm not. I don't think so. That Guazin is different. Having it all breaking down in one report versus going and looking for it and trying and finding it. I think that I'm sure that finance should be able to have that stuff there. So I don't think what I'm asking for is that hard. I mean, I believe that's what I asked for. So and what is not is here is also the income of the legal house attorneys or staff that the district has and is paying as well, because I do believe that we do have a legal department, and all those legal fees would need to be allocated here as well, and what we have here does not it does not say it, and this right here is really open. It's not really giving a lot of information. It's just giving a kind of a total of some, So yes, I believe I would need more information. But thank you for your thank you for your information. But appreciate it. But yeah,
Right. I got it. Any other comments or questions on this report? Okay, the last item on the agenda is after-school partnership. ESSER Community Partnership Initiative.
Yes, so these are costs reported between July 1, 2022 and June 30, 2023. So it's a one-year period to give a snapshot and breakdown as requested of the categories. So as you can see, transportation, these are salaries and benefits of drivers, transporting our students to the sites. Contracted services with the partner sites are the bulk of the expenditure. These contracts are set up that they are all inclusive. They are to cover any rent of the building, any staffing needs, including any benefit costs that the sites may incur, and any other services that are being provided there. So that is the way it is structured in our agreements. And then any curriculum and assessment services and instructional supplies are broken down as well. So these are all paid for with ESSER funds. And so for the annual cost is $644,613. So I do want to mention that we are actively pursuing grant opportunities for this particular initiative, and very hopeful of any of the ESSER activities. This one has gotten sort of the most attention, and it has really brought us together with our partners in the community and built relationships even stronger than we already had. So I think this one is probably first on the list for opportunities for grants. So we're very hopeful and optimistic about the future of that. Dr. Stratus is working hard on making sure that happens. With that, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Any questions?
Yeah. I believe that Ms. Boatwright and I when we initially requested this, I believe that we wanted from the beginning of the program until year to date, until the total cost that we've paid out on the after school initiative, as in from the day one of ESSER until right now. Because we and now also in the process and understanding that also goes to the report cards that the district just got in terms of some of the programs that have been helping, and also trying to understand what it costs and how much the district has actually put into that initiative, this whole initiative. And he said this is a year, but this is not the actual total of from the day one until the previous date of today's date, or until the day of the report. So I do thank you for the report that you've given today. But in the initial of asking for the report, it was asking from the first year, from the first day till current, and how much this costs, and transportation as a total, so it would be more than that. So yeah, that's what was initially asked for in the report. Thank you.
Yes, sir. There were no specifics really given to us as far as the scope of what was requested. It was just asked for a breakdown. So if I understand you correctly, you're looking for day one through current.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
All the programs by the categories that we've provided to you here.
The actual request was, and I think it was at the last meeting, the actual request was to have. The actual request was how much this program the after school program have cost the district in total from day one until the present day. That was the exact request.
That's only for 1 year.
But there is a cumulative total on the detail page of this. If you want to, it's not broken down like this. I just did it by year, but there is a cumulative total, and it was $914,000, $35.
$914,000, but it doesn't have it broken out by these four. Okay. Could we do that? Okay, let's see if we can have that at the next committee meeting.
ESER two had 213,000.
Yeah.
So we'll add that to the amount as well. So we're looking at 1.14 million so far.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Go to the last item on the agenda, future topics. Mr. Campbell, do you have a future topic?
No, not this time.
Ms. Hay, do you have a future topic?
I do not at this time either. Thank you.
Dr. Claus, do you have any future topics?
No, thanks.
Okay. Ms. Gordon, do you have any future topics?
You're muted.
You're still muted.
No, I think she said no.
Okay.
No.
All right. Mr. Smith, do you have any future topics?
No, sir, I don't. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate Ms. Crosby and her staff. Thank you.
Crosby, do you have a future topic?
Yes, sir. As usual. So in addition to the standard reports, I have 3 additional ones that we'll need to bring forward. So one is the first quarter financial report for fiscal year 24. And then OE 18, which is food and nutrition services. And then this one I should be ready for, but we plan to bring the fiscal year 24 budget book forward. And that is going to include budgets by location, which has been requested by Dr. Wisniewski. So we are working I have a draft on my desk today to review. It's relatively long, but I hope to bring that book to you. I don't for any way expect you to review the entire book before the next session. It's going to be rather large. It's more of a reference material for the year and showing how we build the budget and what it all entails. So, but those are the 3 items I'd like to bring forward.
Well, I've got one that came from our last board meeting, and that was brought up by Ms. Boatwright about a strategic view budget of priorities. What are our strategic budget priorities? What's our first priority for funding? Second, third, fourth down the line? That's a big thing to bite on, and you're going to have to get input from Dr. Rodriguez, obviously, and staff. I know what she asked for, but we do bottom-up budgeting in this district. We go down to the users and say, what are your requests? What are your requirements? And that's what we've been. Top-down budgeting is general. And often when you do that, top-down budget, and you compare it with the bottom-up budget, you find some very interesting things. So this is I don't say fraught with danger, but it's fraught with controversy. And it's something that has to be worked out almost in the Congress. You know, it comes down from the president. This is his budget. Then it goes to the Congress, and Congress generally does bottom up. It goes to each of the departments, each of the cabinet, and say, this is what we need. And then the legislature and the administration come together, and generally it doesn't, neither one of them gets all that it wants. It's a worthwhile exercise, but what I'd like to have discussed at the next meeting is what the top-down strategic budget would look like. What's the formatting? How will it be formatted by department, by schools, by, instruction? But there's some factors in instruction. There's technology, there's all kinds of things that go in there. And I don't have a clue how to do that for this entity. But I think we ought to take a shot at it at the November meeting. First, basically a straw man that I'm looking for. You know what a straw man is? A straw man is kind of pushed together real quick. It can be burned up, it can be changed, and it's a first look. And you go to straw man, then you go to Iron Man, and you go to Gold Man. That's what you want. But the straw man is your first attempt at what a top-down strategic budget strategy for priorities would be. So how about giving that a shot? And don't go crazy and don't try to develop an Iron Man to give us a straw man. Okay.
I think I may reach out to Ms. Boatwright as well, since you
Yeah.
brought that up, and see if her
Exactly.
view of what she's looking for
Exactly.
aligns with yours as well.
Sure.
Because and Dr. Wisniewski, I think, mentioned it as well, that they wanted a board to have a discussion of priorities.
Mhm.
So are those specific programmatic, various programmatic priorities, that sort of thing, and how they want to go about how we can help facilitate that
Yeah.
discussion.
We don't want the board to have a blank piece of paper and come up on it. Do it. We need to have the staff give us a reasonable way of looking at it so that we can then play with it and come up with what we want. Okay, Dr. Goss, does that sound all right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Any other comments or questions on that from anybody else? Okay. All right, well, that's the last item on the agenda. Unless I hear a negative response, we will adjourn by unanimous consent. Okay, thank you very much.